Question 88, Deputy McClellan.
Following the rejection by Dublin City Council of the proposed Moore Street land swap, will the Minister initiate a full independent battlefield site survey of the Moore Street area? And will she now bring together all relevant parties with the intention of developing a new plan to protect, preserve and develop the historic core quarter?
Minister.
Thank you. A comprehensive assessment has already been carried out as part of the application for consent under the National Monuments Acts for the proposed restoration of the buildings and the provision of a 1916 commemorative centre on the Moore Street National Monument site. The methodology for the assessment was drawn up and agreed in advance by my department's National Monument Service and by the Director of the National Museum of Ireland. The assessment was carried out by an eminent archaeologist and historian, and I am satisfied with the quality and results of the research, and I do not propose to seek any further assessment of the area. I am disappointed that Dublin City Council decided not to support the proposal that recently went before it, whereby the Council would exchange two modern 1990s buildings at numbers 24 and 25 Moore Street, currently used as a cleansing depot, in return for full ownership of the national monuments at number 14 to 17 being transferred to the City Council. The transfer would have been accompanied by NAMA funding to cover the full cost of the restoration project and the proposed commemorative centre, for which consent was given under the National Monuments Act in April 2014. I believe that the proposal provided a real opportunity to have the project completed and the commemorative centre open in time for the centenary of the Rising in 2016. And following the decision to reject the proposal, it is now a matter for the City Council and the monument owners to consider what the implications are for the national monument buildings, for the NAMA funding, for the restoration project and for the centenary commemorations in 2016. The granting of the consent under the National Monuments Act in April 2014 essentially completes my department's function in this case. I will, however, continue to support all appropriate initiatives to secure the restoration of the national monument consistent with my statutory function under the National Monuments Acts and with the roles and responsibilities of the other interested parties. In that context, I will shortly meet again with the members of Dublin City Council's Moore Street Advisory Committee. In fact, I'm meeting with them in the morning to go through the process with them and to encourage them to try to advance a solution that would see the restoration project moving forward. Responsibility for planning and development of the area outside the bounds of the National Monument at numbers 14 to 17 Moore Street rests with the Planning Authority in Dublin City Council.
Deputy McClellan.
Minister, there are many people who will not only be disappointed in your position that the land swap deal rejected by Dublin City Council was appropriate, but will be astonished to learn that you deemed the plan to demolish most of the Moore Street terrace as an opportunity. If there's one thing that this government consistently lacks, I believe it's ambition. It is also beyond disappointing that your response to Dublin City Council's decision to respect and preserve the historic site in its entirety in preparation for the 2016 centenary celebrations has been so churlish. You say that following the Council vote to reject the land swap deal, progression of the Moore Street project is now a matter solely for the Council. Now, I note you said that you have a meeting tomorrow, but I think you need to clarify the statement, Minister. If it is the case that your government is dropping the Moore Street project ahead of the 2016 centenary celebrations, I think you need to be straight about it. You have already managed to raise the ire of the 1916 signatory families with your meeting with them. To use your own words, it was a heated exchange. The families presented with evidence of the historical significance of the buildings that the Council are seeking to preserve, and that you would so readily have washed your hands of it. To be honest with you, Minister, I find very surprising.
Well, just to clarify, just to correct the record there, Deputy, I never used the words heated exchange, because I didn't have a heated exchange with anybody. In fairness now, I have had my door open. I've met with a number of relatives, but I'll speak about that later. I just want to be clear here. I have indicated a detailed assessment has already been carried out, and I'm entirely satisfied with the quality and findings of the research done, and the consent applicant, Chartered Land Limited, which owns the National Monument site, was asked by my department in January 2012 to commission an assessment of the wider battlefield context of the National Monument as part of the Minister's consideration of the consent application. And the work included a battlefield assessment, inspections and fabric investigations of an area incorporating the block formed by Moore Street, O'Rahilly Parade, Moore Lane and Henry Place, and some of the areas south of Henry Place extending back towards Henry Street. The report research, inspections and investigations reinforced the primary status of numbers 14 to 17, most notably due to the degree to which the pre-1916 physical fabric survives and continues to convey an authentic and legible historical sense of the place within which the final critical hours of the rising took place, and how these buildings stand in marked contrast to the degree to which historic fabric within the wider urban landscape no longer survives.
Deputy McClellan. Final supplementary.
Okay, I'm going to be frank with you, Minister, and just say that I don't believe that your response is good enough. I think those that went before us and secured the future of this state, I believe, deserve so much better. I suspect the signatories of the 1916 proclamation, if they're looking down at us, would care little for your sense of disappointment and are bewildered by your abandonment of such an important project, that they would not only celebrate our past but would play an important role in articulating the vision we have as a nation for our future. It is simply unhelpful to state that the granting of the consent under the National Monuments Act completes your department's involvement in the project. So I'd ask again, Minister, will you reconsider your position and instead pledge a full and independent battlefield site survey of the Moore Street area, bringing together all relevant parties with the intention of developing a new plan to protect, preserve and develop this historic quarter of our city? Or if it is the case that you are intent on behalf of the Government in your abandonment of Moore Street project as envisaged by the majority of Dublin City Council, who represent the citizens of our capital city, will you state this clearly?
Minister for reply.
Thank you. Well, I just want to be clear here that I'm not abandoning the Moore Street project. As I said, I was disappointed when the decision was arrived at by the City Council, and I just want to be clear too that I have met both groups of relatives, one which is entirely supportive of the proposals for the National Monument, and they're very keen that it would progress. I've also met with the Dublin City Council's Moore Street Advisory Committees. Again, I'm meeting them in the morning to discuss the matter further with them in light of the outcome of the vote on the land swap. And the land swap would have put the National Monument and the fully restored 1916 Commemorative Centre into the City Council's ownership and under their management. I've also visited the National Monument myself. I've been through the entire site, and during the visit I spoke to a number of the traders on the street who are very supportive of the plans for the monument itself and the proposals to redevelop the wider area. But you know, the matter is now fundamentally in the hands of Dublin City Council and the monument owners, but I'll certainly do everything I can to encourage progress with the project.
Thank you, Minister.